Hi everyone! What we're going to be working on today is graphing sine and cosine functions. And what we're going to be graphing are the parent functions. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to pause this video and fill out this chart knowing what you know about sine values. You certainly know the sine of 0, the sine of pi over 6, and so on. So think about that unit circle. Think about the fact that sine represents the height in that unit circle. And I'd like for you to fill out these values. And I also want you to convert them to decimals. So for example, the sine of pi over 4 is root 2 over 2. Okay, I'm giving you a free one here. When you convert that to a decimal, you get about 0.71. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Pause the video and then come back and see if your answers match mine, and then we'll go ahead and graph this together. Okay, so hopefully those are the values that you got. And if you look at the graph that I have here, you can see along the bottom, and I've tried to space them out appropriately, I have the special values that we need. So all we're going to do is we're going to graph these as points, x comma y. So we have the point 0, 0. I'm going to do a couple of points first, okay? So I'm going to do this one. We're going to do pi over 2, 1. So pi over 2, 1. I'm going to do pi 0. Going to do 3 pi over 2, negative 1. And of course, at 2 pi, which I don't have on here, we would be back up to a height of 0. Okay. When we graph our sine functions, these are going to be the really important 5 points that we use. But for right now, I want you to go ahead and fill in all of the other ones. So if we look at this, we have pi over 6.5. So pi over 6 is about here, 0.5. Okay. Pi over 4 is 0.71. This is about 0.75. And then pi over 3 is about 0.87. So you can start to see how the curve is going to look, how this parent function will look. Okay. 2 pi over 3 is 0.87. 3 pi over 4 is 0.71. This should have been over a little bit, but that's okay. And then 5 pi over 6 is 0.5. And then to here. So let's keep going. We have, oops, I forgot all my negatives in here. What was I thinking? Sorry about that. So 7 pi over 6 is at negative 0.5. Whoops, went too far. 5 pi over 4 is at negative 0.71. 4 pi over 3 is at negative 0.87. Here's our negative 1. And then we're going back down the line, looking something like this. Okay, those are a little off. But when we connect these, we're going to see a sine curve. This is the parent function for the sine curve. I want you to take note that this right here is a point of inflection. Point of inflection. It's where the graph goes from being concave down to being concave up. Something to think about, okay? So what you're going to do right now is you're going to think about this, read this. Periodic means it repeats over and over again. But I want you on this page to go ahead and do the same thing, but we're working with cosine now. The graph is going to have some similarities and some differences. But go ahead right now, and I want you to fill in these values for cosine of x, y equals cosine of x, and then plot the points and see if yours matches mine. So pause this video right now. Okay, so here's a quick check-in to make sure that your values are right. Remember, cosine is positive in the first quadrant, negative in the second and third quadrants, and then positive again in the fourth quadrant. So make sure your values are the same as mine and then go ahead and graph. Pause the video, graph, and then check it against mine. So this is what your cosine curve should look like. Notice that it starts at a height of 1, then comes down through 0 to a minimum of -1, and then back up through 0 to a height of 1. It's not really a great curve, but you get the idea. Okay, so this is what our cosine curve looks like. So things that we should think about, things when we look at down here, we're asked about differences and similarities between sine and cosine. Well, what I would tell you is that they both have, for the parent function, they both have for similarities, a maximum height of 1 and a minimum height of -1. So that's one similarity. Something that's different is that sine starts at a height of 0, goes up, down, and back to 0. So it actually hits 0 3 times at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Cosine starts. Okay, so announcements just started. So cosine starts at a height of 1, hits 0, goes to a minimum of -1, goes back up to 0, and then ends at a height of 1. So cosine will start at the max and end at the max. Sine starts in the middle and ends in the middle. Okay. They both take 2 pi in terms of time. That's how long it takes to complete a full cycle. So that's actually a similarity here. So that they take 2 pi to complete a full cycle. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to go to the next page and you're going to graph, just using the 5 points for every cycle, you're going to graph sine of x from -2 pi to 2 pi. So you'll be using a total of 10 points for that. And then cosine, same thing. Go ahead and do that. Pause the video, do it, and then check and see if your graphs match my graphs. Okay, so this is what they should look like. I did them in 2 different colors so you can see what one cycle and another cycle would be. So this right here is one cycle, and then this right here is another cycle. So that's 2 cycles of sine of x. Down here for cosine of x, again from -2 pi to 2 pi. So here's one full cycle. Here's the second full cycle. And again, these look like V's, right? Curved V's, sort of. And these start in the middle, up, hit the middle, down, hit the middle. So you need to be memorizing those. Have a wonderful day, everybody.